There we go. There's the website where you get all sorts of data on these Bibles. biblical-data.org. Well, I'm back. This is part two. My wife got on my case for wearing a t-shirt last time, so I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt now, made in Hong Kong. But, we're going to go over 5 New Testaments you should look for that are probably considered rare. Rare is relative. I mean, and if you collect coins, you'll know that a 1914 D penny is considered rare and valuable. And there's over 1,190,000 of them minted, but they're considered rare. But when it comes to books, there might be 5,000 printed and they're not considered rare. They should be. Anything under 5,000 is rare, especially if it's several hundred years ago. Okay, we're going to look at 5 volumes. A correction from the first tape. Cousins is used once in the New Testament, and I said it was at Colossians 1:10. It's actually at Colossians 4:10. Anephoi, cousins. Okay. As we get started here, I forgot to mention a wonderful reference work by the American Bible Society by Margaret Hills. It covers nearly every Bible printed in America up to 1958. I'm going to adjust the light here a little bit. It's a great reference work, and you can find them sometimes copies on eBay. Okay, the first edition we're going to look at is the Letchworth New Testament. Here's the title page. Published in 1948 in England, Great Britain, by the Letchworth brothers. It's valuable, it's rare. There's only 3,000 copies printed because it was kind of looked negative. A negative review was given to it by the syndics of Oxford and the Cambridge presses because of their use of the word authorized in the preface. The paper in this is very, very thick. It's one of the volumes that has the thickest paper I know of for a New Testament. It's about 28 or 30 pound paper, 105 grams per square meter. The work is in 2 columns, cleanly printed, small margins, no notes, no added material. But the volume is quite rare. As I said, there's only 3,000 copies of this printed. I found my copy in England. The Ford brothers, who made this, relied upon Ralph Ford. He had the best collection of Bibles in all of England at one time. And neither of the brothers knew Greek, so they relied upon his collection. They kind of picked and chose through all the different versions what they liked, and they brought it together and made their New Testament. So it doesn't have any critical value, but it is a rare book. If you find it in fair condition, maybe the covers are broken and that, but all the pages are intact, it's worth at least $50. If you find it in good condition or excellent condition, you're looking at $75 to $100 or more if you were to buy it. It was printed again in 1948 in England. The second book we're going to look at is another rare work. Very hard to find. by Zed Hopeful Kopp and his wife, Carrie Kopp. This one is signed, and it also is in a 2-column format, no notes. I don't know exactly how rare this book is. I've only seen one copy in my many years of collecting, and I bought it. That's this one right here. It's called The Book of Life. Very rare. Printed in 1939. Zed Hopeful Kopp had 2 earned doctorates. He was born in 1864, died in 1952. The text is interesting. It has some good readings. He joins the 4 Gospels into one interwoven text. That, in my mind, decreases the value as far as critical texts go. There's no information as to what Greek text they used. At the end of their New Testament, they have gems from the Proverbs, a selection from the Proverbs, and they have a small dictionary. It's printed by John C. Winston, again in 1939. I don't really recommend this book. It uses the word Christian in a lot of titles, and Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, there were technically no Christians around, except in that Paul's the first one to use the word Christian in the Bible, and at Acts 11:26, Acts 11:26, Paul uses the word. They were first called Christians there. The book is rare. I don't know exactly how rare it is. Like I said, I've only seen one copy, and I would value it at $175 in new or good, not new, in excellent condition. In fair or worn, it can drop down to $75. That's the Book of Life, and it's in Hills, this reference work I showed you earlier. A lot of people refer to the number that Margaret Hills assigns to it, and it's number 2378. And our third book is the Berkeley version. Let me get a look at that. That's the original New Testament, published by Garrett Verkel in 1945. This edition is signed by him. There were only 1,000 copies printed in 1945. Printed in Berkeley, that's why it's called the Berkeley version, by J.J. Gillick and Company. These 1,000 copies are rare. There's only 1,000 of them. And it contains the Berkeley version. It has a few errors in it, which he later corrected in later editions. Zondervan got a hold of it, and they published a newer edition which contained the whole Bible, which was done by different editors, and then later it was called the Modern Language Bible in 1969. The whole Bible came out in 1959, called the Berkeley version, of course, the Holy Bible. I recommend it. It's a good translation. He uses the modern Greek text of the Nestle Aland and Westcott Hort text. It's, like I said, a dependable translation. Our next Bible we're going to look at, our New Testament, which is rare, is the one by Clementson. See if I can get his first name here. The title page, Edgar Lewis Clementson. There's the title page. It comes from published by the Pittsburgh Bible Institute, which is still around in Gibsonia, Pennsylvania, or somewhere like that. It's a paperback. It's stapled, side stapled with great big staples. It's a single column format. And in my opinion, it's one of the very best translations made by an individual. It's very conservative, printed in 1938, and it's very hard to find. Clemenson was an expert in Greek and Hebrew, so this is a very dependable translation. I highly recommend it, but it's hard to find. It should be reprinted, I hope, someday. In fair condition, broken back, etc., but all the pages there, it's worth about $100. In excellent condition, I would value it at $150 to $200. And our final book we're going to examine is the New Testament by Grieber, and it was published in 1937. There's the title page. And you'll notice I taped in the original publisher in 1937 was John Felsberg in New York. The book is still in print, I believe, but it's printed by a different group called the Johns Grieber Memorial Foundation. Those are not the 1937 edition. If you can find the 1937 edition, it'll simply have 1937 John Felsberg in New York as the publisher. It won't have the Memorial Foundation as the publisher. That's the only way you can identify the 1937 edition. The texts are identical. The later printings, there's quite a few of them around. Some people were charging outrageous prices on eBay for one of them. I saw one going for $400, and that's ridiculous. Even the first edition of 1937, as printed by John Felsberg, is probably worth $100 in excellent condition if you can find it. It's a rare work. So there, we've gone over 5 editions, and there are quite a few others that I would consider rare. But for the purposes of this is part 2 of my introduction to Bibles printed in the 20th century. I hope you enjoy finding these. A good website you can refer to is bibles.wikidot. That's WIKIDOT.com. That's bibles.wikidot.com. And also for searching, you can bookfinder.com is one of the best sites to find used and out-of-print books. Bookfinder.com. And of course, archives.org. They have online full copies of many texts, which many of them are free to download. And then of course there's my website, which has great detail, editions published up to 1930. Like I said, I've got about 150 more editions to do, but may take me the rest of my life. I got